Hello! Welcome! I mean, it's strange, no? It's not a sponge chat, it's a sponge review. For those of you that follow the blog a lot, you know that I read a lot of books and that I try to get a review out for most of them that I read. It's not possible for all of them, unfortunately. I simply don't have enough time. You will have also noticed that I haven't sort of released any new blogs or any reviews lately. I've been super busy with masters, with running the academy alongside my colleagues, and also working on some conferences that I've got coming up. So that's taken up the majority of my time. But that doesn't mean that I stopped reading or that I stopped using books. So what I'm going to start doing now is, along with the blog posts, put out a video to go with them, to sort of a more informal splurge of my thoughts related to the book. Now I have a very special book, and it's actually, it relates to one of the sponge chats that I did earlier this year with Riccardo, Chiappini and Mansur. And so their book, Activities for Mediation, which we spoke about in the sponge chat, I'll leave a link, make sure you check that out. They sent me this book quite a long time ago, and I had in my mind that I'd get it and I'd write a review for it really quickly. But I got it, and it's 184 pages of activities. Not just activities, we'll get into that in a sec. But it's ginormous for a resource book. And so I really wanted to give it my best shot at using as much of the book as I could, as well as including in some of the activities within various syllabi that we have here, and also asking other teachers to play around with that. So what follows here is going to be my overview of what's inside, the things I liked, the things I didn't like, or the things that could be improved, who should read this book, and basically where to get it. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, activities for mediation. First thing that it goes through is a really, really teacher-friendly introduction to mediation. Now, before I read this book, I thought I had a good understanding of what mediation was. I'd touched on it doing Delta. The Masters hasn't really touched on it yet, but in various readings I've sort of touched on it. And obviously it pops up quite a lot in sociocultural theory. But in terms of bringing mediation into the classroom as sort of an activity, I thought predominantly that it was mainly focused on translation activities and things like that. And I was having a conversation with the teacher the other day, and they said the same thing. After reading this introduction, let me have a look. It's about, what is it? The introduction's, it's like 20 pages. 20 pages, yeah, it's about 20 pages long for the introduction, and it goes basically over everything that mediation is. Obviously not in loads and loads of detail, but the relevant information as teachers is what we need, right? And one thing I really love, if you'll bear with me, is they have this page here. I'll put a screenshot to this and it'll come up. But basically it gives an overview of the activities and the strategies for mediation, which I thought was excellent. And they've stolen that from the Council of Europe. And so basically it goes through this introduction, it explains what mediation is, and there's so much more to it than translation, and it doesn't even have to involve translation, okay? And so that was cool. The book itself, if we take a look at the contents, it's split into, what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7, more or less, sections for activities. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. And then it also has a whole section at the back that's focused on basically how to create your own tasks, which I thought was really cool. So what do I like? I mean, that's a good question. We have to look at what we like, right? I love the variety of activities in here. I think any school will any language teaching institution will find value in this. More than that, I also like, I looked at the lesson plans, right? The lesson plans in here. And initially I was a little bit overwhelmed when I first read it, because I thought, oh, there's a lot of information here. But when you take the time and you focus just on the procedure box, it's actually quite clear. But to give you an idea, like they have like 2 or 3 pages generally for the actual, before they get into the materials. And they have loads of ideas. For example, just in this one, they've got differentiation, they've got variation extension, they've got feedback. They also have something which I think is really, really in touch with now, adaptation for the virtual classroom, so for online teaching, which is just prime. So I think the lesson plans themselves and the information that's included, I think is excellent. The materials themselves, I'll talk about one in a sec, but I've used probably about 10 to 15 of the lessons from the book so far. Of course, I make my own little variations for the groups that I'm working with, but in general, the materials I've used are unchanged from here, and they've been really, really useful. Another positive that I liked, especially for the Spanish context, the Escuela Oficial de Idiomas, they have it's quite a popular language center, but also they have their own suite of exams. And mediation is actually part of these exams. So this book, we've had a few learners come through, and they said that they've asked for preparation for the exam. And this book has actually helped us in creating those syllabuses for these learners. So we've been able to take these and basically create mediation activities for them. Some other things that I like, I said before that they have the section at the back for creating your own. And I think that's really important from a managerial perspective. Obviously, not all of these are going to be applicable to everyone. But they give you plenty of advice on how to adapt your own materials or create your own materials, which is excellent. Another thing, there are activities in the book that are that are applicable or relevant to exam-focused classes, but there are loads that are focused on general English classes as well. So in your place, wherever you're working, if you're focusing on sort of the exam classes, there's definitely something in here. For example, I love the meta notes activity, which I'm going to talk about in a sec. But there's also general English things as well, which do incorporate translation, which don't incorporate translation. There's loads in here. So definitely worth checking out for that. So what don't I like? To be honest, not too much. When I got this and I started using it, I had really, really positive experiences with my class. Learners found the activities interesting and also kind of novel in a sense. They're not really used to doing these mediation activities in class. It's definitely something that's not, I'd say, widespread within EOT, and certainly not with the learners that I've worked with. So that was good. But the things that I didn't like, there was an activity in here with the meta notes, and basically you have to, it's like a jigsaw listening basically. So learners are tasked with listening to different listenings. And now the listenings are only accessible through the Delta Augmented app. And I did this class with adults first, planning to do it with teenagers after. And so I had to get the adults in class to download the app. And I mean, it didn't take that long, and everyone's pretty good at doing that now. But I could see that if you're doing it with a larger class, 8 or 10 even more, that might be a barrier. I suppose the other option is, they have the scripts, which they use the scripts after as well. But the option is you take the scripts and you record your own voice. But I thought that was just a tiny barrier for using it effectively in the classroom. So what about an example lesson? Well, I'm going to go back to that meta notes one, which we got here. Now, basically what this does, or what this activity focuses on, is It's a jigsaw listening that leads into learners having to take notes on different aspects or different parts of the listening and come together and use these notes to create or to complete an essay. But I started this lesson pretty much following the book. It was excellent. And the only change that I did is they had like an essay here, but I adapted this essay so that it was more for my learners. So I made it into an exam task, and then they used this information that they created, and then they created it just following an exam rubric basically. But that one was really excellent, really excellent. I don't even know if you can say that. It was excellent. So I had a great time with that. Learners loved it. The focus of the listening I thought was excellent as well. So it was on different ways of taking notes. And the listening itself, they were quite complex. It had a B2 to C1 level. And so we were able to focus on a listening skills lesson, which incorporated mediation in the follow-up, which I thought was excellent as well. Another one that I've just thought off my head, which I think it's called breaking news. It's where learners, they have to watch a video basically, and then from their notes they create a summary of sorts, and they have to co-construct a summary, and then from there they go away and they prepare their news report based on what they've seen. And that one worked really, really well. I did that with my B2 teens and got some excellent responses out. The one thing that I loved is being able to sit back and deal with emergent language as it was coming out, and really focus on their needs as they arose. So again, there's no sort of, it's not really prescriptive in language in that sense, although there are possible language features that you could focus on, which they mention in there. So who's gonna like this book? Well, teachers obviously are gonna love it. There's loads in there, guarantee you. As a manager, I found it useful when planning courses. You know, if you have loads of individual courses or courses coming up and you're looking for that variety, something that works to their needs, or that's something that's novel, having these resource books is always quite useful. So I found that really useful to try or to use with the courses. And plus we got positive feedback from it, so from a lot of the activities, which is excellent. One of the teachers that used the activities, they thought it was positive. I can't remember exactly which activity he used, but the feedback that I got from it was excellent. He also read the introduction to the concept of mediation, and found that it was quite interesting, and it sort of changed his perspective on it as well. So it's not only me that had their sort of minds blown and perspectives changed. So that was excellent. Right, where you can get it? I mean, everyone goes to Amazon. You can go to Amazon, or you can go to the Delta website. I'll put links below. And make sure you get your hands on it. It's a great book. It's a great resource. It's not a course book, just to clarify. It is a resource book. In terms of learner levels, maybe that's important to know as well. It goes all the way from A1 to C2. So yeah, a whole range in there. I got mine was sent to me, but you can get that from Delta, you can get it from Amazon, and I'll put links down below. To everyone out there, thank you very much for listening or watching to this review. It's my first time doing this. It's a bit strange, a bit different from the blog, so we'll get better as we go along. Please feel free to give feedback if you've got any books that you'd like reviewed within the EOT sphere. Okay, there are plenty of books out there that I want to read that are not EOT related, but I'm going to keep this obviously EOT specific. So if you've got something that you want me to read, let me know. I'll try and get my hands on it. And I'll try and get a review to you as soon as I can. Stay posted, give us a like, subscribe, and we'll speak to you soon, okay? Bye.